The barren plains of Zeronine stretched endlessly, scarred by the remnants of battles long past. Broken buildings and twisted metal jutted out from the cracked surface, the silent testimony of a human presence that had vanished centuries ago. Dust swirled in the thin wind, carrying faint echoes of explosions that no one alive had heard. In the distance, a group of alien scavengers approached cautiously, their hover vehicles kicking up small clouds of dirt and debris. They had heard rumors of a human war machine buried in this abandoned colony, a relic from the time when humans had ruled their own systems with technology unmatched by most alien civilizations. Curiosity mingled with greed as each scavenger dreamed of the power they might claim. "There it is," one young alien whispered, pointing toward a massive shape half buried in rubble. The sun glinted off its angular metal surfaces. "The human relic." The others gathered, circling the giant machine with a mixture of awe and mockery. It was enormous, unlike anything the aliens had seen in use, a tank built for war bristling with dormant weapons and armor thick enough to shrug off most energy blasts. Its hull was scratched and pitted, the paint faded, metal corroded. It seemed dead. Dead. "It looks like junk," scoffed another, nudging the tank with a clawed foot. "Humans are extinct. Their machines are nothing now. This thing couldn't even roll if it tried." The young alien laughed and waved his hand over the tank's massive turret. "I bet its guns haven't fired in 1,000 years. Rusted scrap, that's all it is." Sensors built into their suits began scanning the relic. Faint energy pulses flickered deep within the tank's core, barely detectable. The veteran scavenger frowned at the readings. "It's still powered," he muttered. "Perhaps some energy source remains, but it's weak. Nothing dangerous." "Weak," the young alien said, spinning in excitement. "Nothing to worry about. Let's see if it moves." They kicked at the treads, hammered at the armor, and even tried to open the main hatch, which stubbornly refused to budge. Their laughter echoed across the empty plains, carried off by the wind, as if mocking the tank itself. Yet beneath the hull, something stirred. A faint hum began to rise, almost imperceptible at first, vibrated through the ground and tickled the sensors in the alien suits. They paused, tilting their heads. "Did you hear that?" one of the older scavengers asked. "It's probably just the wind," another said dismissively, though unease crept into his tone. The hum grew louder. Lights along the tank's hull flickered once, twice, then steadily glowed with a faint blue energy. The aliens' laughter faltered as the tank's hatch began to move, lifting slowly with mechanical precision. Dust fell from the hinges as if awakening from a long sleep. The youngest alien took a step back, eyes wide. It's moving. Impossible," someone hissed. "It should be dead. Humans are gone." But the tank was not dead. Centuries of silence had not erased the precision in its programming. Sensors tracked movements, weapon systems began initializing, and the massive turret rotated slightly as if scanning for targets. The hum deepened, vibrating through the aliens' boots and echoing across the plains like the growl of a sleeping predator. The alien leader raised a hand. "Everyone, stay calm. It may be automated, but it's old tech. We can handle it." The younger aliens didn't listen. Curiosity mixed with bravado drove them closer, poking, shouting, and laughing nervously. One even tried to peer into the open hatch. A sudden burst of energy from inside the tank knocked him backward, sending him rolling across the dust. He scrambled to his feet, breathing hard, and staggered away from the glowing machine. "What? What is it doing?" another whispered, trembling. The tank's sensors locked onto the nearest threats, the aliens themselves. Lights along its hull blinked in sequence, scanning, analyzing, calculating. The hum grew louder, a low, resonant vibration that shook the ground beneath their feet. Even at a distance, it was impossible to ignore the feeling that the machine was alive, aware, and ready. Some of the veterans among the aliens tried to retreat, their instincts screaming that this was not a simple relic. But the young scavengers, intoxicated with arrogance, stayed too close. They laughed at the warnings, mocking the idea that a human war machine could still function. Then, the tank's main gun charged. A soft glow appeared at its muzzle, and a faint tremor ran through the earth. The hum became a roar, low and mechanical, like the heartbeat of a giant awakening. Dust and debris swirled violently as the tank shifted its weight, treads moving smoothly despite centuries of disuse. "Run," someone shouted, but the words barely carried over the growing vibration. The camera, if one were watching this, seen from afar, would focus on the open hatch, the flickering lights along the hull, and the sheer scale of the tank. What had once seemed like useless scrap now radiated power and menace. Every sensor, every weapon, every line of programming was alive again. The Relic was awake. The aliens stared, frozen between fear and disbelief. Their laughter had died in their throats. They had mocked the humans and their technology, believing it long dead. Now, the truth was undeniable. The human's creation had survived the centuries, and it was ready to strike. A new awareness settled over the group of scavengers. This was no ordinary machine. This was humanity's legacy, disciplined, precise, and deadly. Whatever this Relic was capable of, it would not forgive foolishness. The wind howled across the plains, carrying the mechanical hum into the distance. The stage was set. The Relic had awakened. The aliens had mocked, and the first strike was coming. The dust from the desert plains swirled violently as the Relic tank continued to hum with growing intensity. Alien scavengers staggered backward, their previous arrogance replaced by unease. Their suit sensors blinked warning signals as the tank's power system slowly came online. Every light along its hull glowed with a faint, pulsing blue energy, illuminating centuries-old scars in its armor and casting eerie shadows across the ruins. This cannot be real," muttered one of the older aliens, gripping the edge of his hover vehicle for balance. "It's just a machine, a relic. It shouldn't move." But the tank was moving. Its massive treads ground against the cracked earth, leaving deep impressions. Dust and debris flew in every direction as the Relic rotated its turret, scanning the alien scavengers with sensors that seemed almost alive. The weapons, long dormant, emitted faint hums that vibrated through the ground, warning any who approached that this machine was far from harmless. "You see, I told you it's nothing," a young scavenger shouted, waving a clawed hand as if to challenge the Relic. "It's just old tech." Before he could take another step, a pulse of energy shot from the tank's hull. It wasn't meant to kill, but the shock waves slammed into the ground near the aliens, throwing some off their feet and sending others scrambling for cover. Small rocks exploded into the air, the sound of metal grinding against metal, echoing across the plains. The once confident laughter of the scavengers turned into terrified cries. The alien leader barked orders, trying to regain control. "Spread out. Retreat to the vehicles. Do not let it trap you." But the Relic anticipated every movement. Its sensors tracked their positions with perfect precision, feeding the main systems as if guided by a human mind. Every attempt to flee seemed calculated by the tank itself. It wasn't chasing them aggressively yet. It was teaching a lesson, a demonstration of power meant to make the aliens understand what they had awakened. One brave or foolish young alien tried to climb onto the tank's hull, swinging a crowbar at a glowing panel. Sparks erupted, and the Relic barely flinched. Its turret slowly rotated toward him, emitting a deep, mechanical hum that resonated through the air like the growl of a predator. Panic replaced curiosity, and the young alien scrambled down, tripping and rolling across the dirt, his clawed hands digging into the ground to stop himself, and the tank's hatch shifted slightly, revealing shadowed openings that hinted at internal machinery far beyond the alien's comprehension. A faint, eerie blue light glowed from inside. It was as though the Relic itself were breathing, alive with energy, ready to respond to any threat. From the sky, small reconnaissance drones, sent by the aliens, circled, trying to get a better view. The tank's targeting sensors detected them instantly. A single pulse of energy launched upward, intercepting the drones before they could relay information to the fleet above. The drones fizzled out in sparks, plummeting to the ground, leaving the aliens helpless and terrified. This thing is thinking." One alien gasped, backing away slowly. It's not just a machine, it's alive. The leader's claws trembled on the console of his vehicle. No, it cannot be. Humans are extinct. It should be nothing but scrap metal. But the relic had been designed by humans, a species known for ingenuity and planning far beyond most alien civilizations. It remembered, in a sense. The alien scavengers' retreat was chaotic. Dust and debris filled the air as hover vehicles skidded over cracked ground, engines straining to escape the awakening relic. Panic had replaced arrogance. Laughter had vanished entirely. Every alien felt it, the undeniable presence of something far greater than they had imagined. The tank's massive treads ground into the earth, moving with precision that defied centuries of dormancy. Its sensors swept across the battlefield, locking on to the fleeing aliens. There was no hesitation. Every system within the relic had come alive, calculating, anticipating, and ready to respond to threats. A young scavenger tried to turn his hover vehicle, aiming weapons at the tank. "I can still fight," he shouted, though fear trembled in his voice. The relic reacted instantly. A low-energy pulse shot from its hole, knocking the alien's vehicle off balance. Sparks flew as the hovercraft slammed into a rock formation. The driver tumbled out, clutching at the ground, wide-eyed and trembling. "Keep moving," the leader screamed, but the tank was already anticipating their paths. Its targeting sensors projected probable escape routes and energy pulses cut off every avenue. The aliens were trapped in a carefully calculated web of danger. The tank's main gun rotated slowly, targeting multiple threats at once. It didn't fire to kill immediately. This was a warning, a display of power, a lesson. Another energy pulse shot out, striking a hovering drone midair. It exploded in a flash of sparks and smoke, tumbling into the distance. Soldiers froze, watching the destruction, realizing that the relic's reach extended far beyond their immediate perception. "This is not just a machine," one veteran muttered. "It's intelligent." A few younger aliens, panicked and defiant, tried to approach the tank from the sides, hoping to flank it. The relic's sensors anticipated their movements. Another pulse of energy hit, throwing them to the ground, leaving them scrambling to stay upright. The leader growled in frustration. "Form a line, target the tank together." The aliens unleashed a barrage of energy weapons. The shots struck the relic's armor with sparks and ricochets, but the tank barely reacted. Its hull absorbed the impacts, distributing energy through its systems, and countermeasures activated automatically. Smoke and flares emitted from hidden vents, confusing the alien targeting sensors. The relic moved with strategic precision. It shifted behind cover, using the ruins of the human base to shield itself from incoming fire while keeping multiple weapons trained on the enemy. Its main cannon pivoted with perfect timing, firing energy pulses that struck alien vehicles and drones with pinpoint accuracy. The alien fleet commander, observing from above, realized with horror that this was no ordinary relic. They underestimated it, they mocked it. And now it is turning their arrogance into destruction. The tank's systems continued to analyze the battlefield. Every alien movement, every hovercraft maneuver, was predicted almost before it happened. It moved like a living creature, its massive form weaving between obstacles with unmatched agility for its size. One of the youngest aliens attempted a desperate attack, firing a small energy projectile at the tank's hull. The shot struck a panel, only to trigger a defensive system. A burst of magnetic energy hurled him backward, sliding across the dirt and rubble. He groaned, realizing that every foolish move was being punished. The tank's hatch opened slightly, revealing the faint glow of internal systems. It wasn't just a machine firing blindly. It was calculating, judging, and acting with purpose. Alien morale collapsed entirely. They had entered the battlefield expecting easy loot, only to discover a force they could neither control nor predict. "Retreat! Retreat!" The leader yelled, but the aliens were now disorganized, panicked, and scattered. The relic's calculated strikes prevented any coordinated escape. One by one, alien vehicles were disabled or destroyed, leaving only scattered. survivors fleeing across the plains. The tank paused briefly, its massive cannon rotating as if surveying the damage. Smoke rose from destroyed alien vehicles, and dust clouds swirled around the ruins of the old colony. The battlefield was quiet except for the hum of the Relic systems, a deep, resonant vibration that reminded everyone present, human technology never truly dies. From the viewpoint of the aliens above, the Relic seemed unstoppable. It had awakened from centuries of dormancy to unleash the full potential of human engineering and strategy. It was not just a machine. It was a living symbol of human ingenuity and precision. The leader, breathless and terrified, realized the truth. We underestimated humans, their machines, their legacy. It's alive. The tank's hum deepened as its energy systems pulsed, warning any remaining aliens that their time on the battlefield was limited. It had struck first, but the war machine was ready for any counterattack. It was a calculated predator, a mechanical guardian of a species long thought extinct. The survivors fled in every direction, carrying the tale of the Relic that had turned their arrogance into fear. The battlefield, scarred by pulses of energy and destroyed vehicles, stood as a silent testimony. The humans may have been gone from this world, but their technology and their power had returned, and the Relic waited, ready for the next move, fully awakened and unstoppable. The alien panic, the alien fleet hovering above the desolate colony, watched in horror as the human Relic tank tore through their forces below. Smoke and debris swirled across the plains, punctuated by glowing energy pulses that left scorched craters in their wake. Panic rippled through the alien ranks. What they had thought was a harmless relic had become a living nightmare. Fall back! Fall back! Shouted one commander, his claws gripping the controls of his ship. But even as he barked orders, the chaos on the ground grew. Scouts and reconnaissance drones, sent to assess the situation, were destroyed almost instantly by the tank's automated defenses. Sparks and smoke erupted across the sky as alien technology met human engineering and lost. Impossible. One young alien gasped, eyes wide. It's just a machine. It can't do all this. But the evidence was undeniable. Hover vehicles were toppled. Drones exploded midair. The tank moved with precision, avoiding traps and ambushes, responding to every threat faster than the aliens could react. Fear spread like wildfire among the troops. Where there had once been arrogance and laughter, now there was trembling uncertainty. The fleet's commander, a large alien with segmented armor and glowing eyes, shouted into the communication channel. All units, regroup. Form a defensive perimeter. We cannot lose more ships to this thing. But regrouping proved impossible. The Relic strikes were unpredictable, yet strategic. Each pulse of energy seemed to block escape routes or disable key equipment. Alien soldiers flung themselves behind rubble and ruins, but the tank anticipated their movements, forcing them into open ground where energy blasts could reach them. One alien pilot, desperately trying to fire at the tank from above, had his weapon systems jammed mid-attack. Sparks flew, and a warning signal blared. The Relic's electronic countermeasures were more advanced than anything the aliens had expected. Their advanced targeting and communication systems were useless in the presence of this ancient human war machine. Retreat. Retreat now, the fleet commander repeated, his voice tight with panic. Ugh. Some alien ships began to flee, engines glowing, as they pushed toward the edges of the sector. Others attempted to coordinate attacks only to find their weapons misfiring, their drones disabled, their sensors confused by the Relic systems. Fear had taken over their logic. On the ground, scavengers who had mocked the tank earlier now scrambled desperately, leaping over rubble and kicking dust into the wind. The youngest among them whimpered, eyes locked on the glowing blue lights of the Relic. The hum of its systems grew louder, vibrating through their bones, a deep mechanical growl that reminded them how insignificant they were in its presence. It's a human weapon, one veteran whispered, trembling. Not just any weapon. A war machine built to annihilate enemies, and it's still alive. The leader of the alien scavengers bellowed, realizing the full weight of their mistake. We laughed at it. We mocked it. Now it's punishing us for every word, every step we took. The tank, as if acknowledging the fear around it, fired another controlled strike, precise, devastating, but not indiscriminate. The aliens scattered, some taking cover behind rocks and broken walls. The ground trembled under the tank's weight, echoing across the plains. Every movement of the relic radiated authority, intelligence, and a terrifying sense of inevitability. From above, alien fleet ships tried to coordinate support. Their beams of energy flared, lighting up the battlefield, but the tank's systems adapted instantly. Defensive shields activated, intercepting the attacks. The battlefield lay in ruin. Alien hovercraft smoldered among the shattered remnants of their own reconnaissance drones. Smoke rose in thick clouds, and the once confident scavengers huddled in terror, trying to make sense of the unstoppable war machine before them. The relic tank, known as the Forgotten War Machine, stood tall amidst the wreckage, its massive treads crushing rubble under its weight. Its blue energy lights pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. System had come online, calibrated to precision. The tank had no haste, yet every movement exuded lethal intent. The fleet commander, observing from above, could hardly believe what he saw. "This is not just a machine," he whispered, voice trembling. "It's human engineering at its peak. And it's still alive." Below, the remaining alien forces tried to regroup. They formed makeshift defensive lines, energy weapons ready. But the relic tank moved with an almost predatory intelligence. It wasn't firing blindly. Each pulse of energy, each movement, was calculated to dismantle their forces efficiently while leaving them enough hope to understand the consequences of underestimating humans. The first coordinated strike began. The tank rotated its massive turret, locking onto the closest alien hovercraft. A blue energy beam surged forth, striking the craft midair. Sparks and smoke erupted as it plummeted to the ground, spinning uncontrollably before crashing into the rocks. Panic spread through the alien lines as their vehicles faltered under precise attacks. "Move, move now," the leader yelled, claws shaking. But even as he commanded, the tank anticipated their retreat. Another pulse of energy shot across the battlefield, cutting off their escape path. Alien vehicles skidded and collided with one another, leaving survivors scrambling for cover. The relic's treads moved with strategic precision, using terrain to its advantage. Broken buildings and ruined walls became shields as it maneuvered, exposing only its weapons and sensors. Each strike was perfectly timed, drones sent to distract. It were destroyed within seconds. Humans, they built this. To fight like this, one trembling scavenger whispered, "Not just a machine, or weapon of war." Above, the fleet tried to intervene. Energy beams from ships illuminated the battlefield, but the tank's shields activated instantly. Projected barriers shimmered. As pulses of energy deflected the alien fire, one by one, ships were disabled, forced to retreat or crash land. The relic's presence dominated both ground and air, asserting human technological supremacy in every direction. The remaining alien troops tried desperate maneuvers, scattering across the plains in hopes of confusing the relic. It anticipated every move, recalculating trajectories, adjusting energy pulses, and maintaining perfect coordination. Its movements were not chaotic, but precise, a dance of destruction guided by programming far beyond alien understanding. The youngest scavenger, trembling behind a boulder, whispered, It's teaching them, punishing them, surviving at the same time." The tank paused for a moment, scanning the battlefield as if to assess the damage it had caused. Alien forces were scattered, vehicles destroyed, and morale shattered. Yet it did not move recklessly. Every strike reinforced its dominance, sending a clear message. Humanity's technology and strategy were unmatched. Then, the tank rotated its turret to the center of the alien formation. A pulse of energy larger than before surged forward, cutting through their strongest lines and disabling their command vehicles. Alien soldiers scrambled to respond, but their coordination had dissolved entirely. Fear controlled them now, not logic. The leader, trapped on the ground with the few remaining survivors, watched in disbelief. "We underestimated them," humans. Their machines, their minds, he muttered, voice broken. All this, built by a species we thought was gone. The relic tank continued its assault, not recklessly, but methodically. Each strike reminded the aliens that they had mocked a force they could never control. Sparks and smoke filled the air, dust clouds rose, and the hum of the machine grew into a deep, resonant growl that seemed to echo across the plains and into the sky above. Some alien ships tried a final desperate attack from orbit, firing all their energy weapons. The tank's shields flared, absorbing the assault, while automated countermeasures disabled incoming drones. Within minutes, the alien fleet was retreating, battered and broken, leaving the battlefield entirely in the Relic's control. The survivors on the ground fled in terror, carrying the tale of the war machine that had destroyed entire squads, scattered entire fleets, and taught a lesson no alien would ever forget. The Relic tank, standing amidst the ruins, pulsed softly, surveying the aftermath with unwavering vigilance. Its weapons remained ready, its systems alive, its presence a reminder of the human legacy. The plains were quiet once more. Smoke rose in lazy spirals from destroyed vehicles, and dust drifted over craters left by energy pulses. The alien forces had fled, terrified, humbled, and awed by what they had witnessed. And at the center of it all, the Relic tank stood silent, but alive. Its blue lights flickered in the fading light, like eyes watching, waiting. Humanity may have been absent, but their power, their strategy, and their relentless ingenuity were still very much alive. The Relic had proven one undeniable truth: underestimate humans, and you would pay the price. The wind carried a faint hum across the battlefield, a low vibration that resonated through the bones of anyone who dared to listen. It was a warning, a reminder, and a testament to the enduring legacy of human engineering. The war machine had struck, and the galaxy would never forget. The aftermath, the battlefield, was silent now. Smoke rose in lazy spirals from the wreckage of alien hovercrafts and drones, and the dust settled slowly over craters left by the Relic tank's energy pulses. The once confident alien scavengers had fled, leaving behind only broken machinery and a shattered sense of pride. The Relic tank stood at the center, massive and imposing. Its blue lights pulsed softly, rhythmically, like a heartbeat. The treads ground gently against the earth, leaving deep impressions in the soil as if marking its territory. Every system within the tank hummed in quiet vigilance, scanning for threats, though none remained. The war machine was awake, alive, and unchallenged. On the distant horizon, a few surviving alien scouts peeked back at the battlefield. Their wide eyes reflected fear and disbelief. They had underestimated humanity. They had mocked the Relic, calling it scrap, and now they knew the truth. Human engineering was precise, deadly, and enduring. This cannot be one veteran, muttered, voice shaking. A species that is gone, left behind something like this. From high above, alien fleet ships hovered, reluctant to descend. The story of the Relic had already spread through communication channels. Entire squadrons had been disabled or destroyed, and morale was shattered. The fleet commander knew that retreat was the only option. Humanity's legacy, even in their absence, was not to be challenged. Below, the Relic tank remained vigilant. It had not needed to fire indiscriminately to prove its strength. Its presence alone had crushed arrogance and instilled fear. The few remaining alien scavengers huddled together, whispering tales of the machine that moved like a predator, struck like a lightning bolt, and thought like a human general. The leader of the scavengers, trembling and bruised, whispered harshly, "To his troops, we laughed at them. We mocked them. Now we pay. Remember this day, remember humans, and never underestimate them again." The Relic tank turned slightly, as if acknowledging the truth of those words. Its energy systems pulsed once more, deep and steady, resonating across the plains. Though humans were absent, their technology and strategy had endured. It was a silent sentinel, guarding the memory of its creators, and a reminder that their legacy could not be erased. Far away, Other alien civilizations would hear of this event. Reports of a human relic defeating entire squads, disabling fleets, and surviving centuries of dormancy would spread fear throughout the galaxy. The tale of the war machine would be passed down among alien soldiers, a cautionary story of arrogance, underestimation, and the enduring might of humanity. The wind carried the hum of the tank systems across the battlefield, whispering a haunting melody of power. Broken vehicles smoldered and dust drifted over craters as if nature itself acknowledged the human relic's dominance. Even the alien fleet, retreating into the darkness of space, could feel the lingering echo of its presence. The youngest scavenger, crouched behind a ruined wall, looked up at the tank. His voice trembled as he muttered, "Humans. They are gone, but their power lives." The relic had proven something beyond destruction. It had shown that human ingenuity, precision, and planning could survive the test of time. Even in absence, humanity's engineering could dominate and inspire awe across galaxies.